What's going on, guys? We are back for some more of the NA recap of, what was it, week 4? Yeah, it was week 4. I'm getting confused with my weeks because it's lasting so long. But we're going to go over this recap. Sorry, I'm a little bit dark. I have one of my lights went out. But we're going to go over the recap of week 4 and predictions for week 5. Because it's a doubleheader weekend, I'm going to try and do predictions on my laptop on the Sunday after Europe for the doubleheader day and probably post it right away. It's going to be off my laptop, so it's going to be a little bit more sketchy. But that's the plan. So we're just going to focus in on the games on Saturday for NA, and then the Monday games we'll worry about later. So let's get into it. We have the goals from NA going on right now with Ghost versus Flight, and we'll just have that as background noise as we talk about what happened last week. So let's begin. Ghost versus Flight. I mean, Flight's the worst team in NA right now, and it's pretty clear. A lot of solo plays again, really no team plays. They continue to do that. They have almost no passing goals. It really turns into like rebound goals off solo plays or goals like this where they just transition out of their end and it just happens there's someone there. That's happened a few times, which is good. Like, obviously, those are passes, but I still haven't seen an infield pass for a goal from them from their when they're on the offensive side of the field. It just doesn't really happen that often for them. Yeah, so Ghost gets a pretty comfortable win here. Nothing too much to say about that. Next up, Energy versus Rogue. And this game just looked like a lot of frustration coming out. Looked like First Killer doing a lot of ball chasing. Wonder just like random misses on defense. Like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Energy looked like at times they were just having fun. Like, honestly, like they were just like, all right, really high scoring games. They kind of like would take the foot off the gas a little bit. Rogue would get a couple extra goals because of that. Wonder had some good goals, I guess. But just the defensive side, so shaky. Like, Energy's really good. I think the one problem I do have is when they do have big leads, they kind of just, it looks like they just kind of mess around a little bit. I'd rather them just, just put the boot on the throat and just end it. Rogue did get one win. Wonder, again, he had most of their goals throughout the series, but the defense, sketchy. I think this is the only one that was like somewhat of a pass. Hold on, let me see. Oh, never mind. It's a kickoff. So, and again, he just throws it forward. Just happens that memory's there. Again, nothing like too on purpose, passing wise for Flight. Yeah, there's not too much to say about this. Like, I think Wonder, like, so sketchy right now on the defense side, position wise. Him on the defense and just First Killer all around has been a little bit rough. I think, again, a lot of frustrations coming out from Rogue. That's what it feels like. Energy gets an easy win, and they move on. Next up, Ghost versus Sonics. So, if you guys haven't been watching, me and James, we have a new podcast up right now, The Half Flip. It's actually going to, we're going to have another one today at 12 Eastern time, and we do a thing called the 50-50 where I pick the games that are going to be close. We choose who's going to win. Well, the only one that we were different on in North America was Ghost versus Sonics, and if there's a series where a team should have won, I'm going to skip ahead on this a little bit. It was Ghost over Sonics. Man, they had so many golden opportunities. 60 shots in 5 games, Ghost. 60. That's over 10 a game, obviously, and it's just, that's 12 and a half shots per game. Like, and they lose it. They had some wide open nets in overtimes that they just missed aerial shots on. I'm sorry, 12 shots a game. They would save their own shots by Atomic. Man, they should have won this series. Sonics played decent. Like, I'm not saying, like, trying to take it away from them. This was definitely Ghost should have won this series. But Sonics, they prevail. And at the end of the day, you got to be clutch. And Sonics, and again, Shock with some overtime winners and just big plays in their wins. Again, Shock continues to impress and continues to show up in the big moments. Like, Dapper had a couple good games as well. Right here we get a nice little dribble play. And Sonics are the real deal for sure. But man, Ghost should have won this series. Oh man, it's gotta hurt. It's gotta hurt so much. We'll see what Ghost does from here on out. Like at this point, top two is probably out of the running. They're 2-3. They're very likely going to be the playoff team. It just seems like they're still leaps ahead of the rest of the bottom of NA. But they got to find a way to win the big one. And now, because they're not going to be top two, well, they're going to have to win the big one when it comes to playoff time. At this rate, they might not even get 3 or 4, so they have to win 2 big ones. Who knows? They still have a chance at 3 and 4, obviously, but man, oh man, they should have won this series. It saddens me. It saddens me so much. Next up, E United and Rogue. 1 goal for Rogue. It was by Wonder again, at least. But, and on the other side, for E United, this wasn't convincing at all. They scored 5 goals in 3 games. They still play on the back foot. Even when they're playing Rogue, who's not playing that well, the ball is still on their half more times than not. And I don't like it. I don't like it. Sure, it will get you wins here or there. And I think last season, obviously, teams like Veloce, teams like E United, they did make it to Worlds by doing this. I just don't think, that this can last. And E United, man, they got to find a way to control the offensive possession. And I am super worried about them still. Even though it's a 3-0, I would pick them, I would pick Ghost over E United 9 times out of 10. So we'll see going forward, but they didn't impress me much in the series. Next up, Space Station, Pittsburgh Knights. And a lot of the times the casters were like, what's AJ doing? Or where is AJ? He's a little bit lost. And I think he did pick it up a little bit towards the end, but Space Station was a little bit too much. I think Space Station is just a really good team. AXB continues to deliver. Gets a hat trick again in game 4. Very late series, he keeps scoring. Or late in the series, he keeps scoring. But at the end of the day, the one thing I don't understand is people are like, oh my God, AXB should win MVP. And I'm like, when you look at it, I feel like a lot of it is Arsenal. A lot of it is typical for the first few games. And then AXB wakes up towards the end of the series, and that's the only thing people remember. Right? And one of these games, AXB had 74 points. And it's I don't know. AXB's good, but I think we should be talking a little bit more about Arsenal and the NA MVP typical. But Space Station's really good. Really good team. I think Pittsburgh Knights, they're still figuring it out. The one nice thing is I do think they're easily top 6 team. They'll make it to playoffs. And then it comes down to have they figured everything out with AJ at that point, and then can they make a run? The problem is we have 6 really good teams in North America right now, in my opinion. So it's going to be really, really difficult for any of these teams, once you get into that scenario where you have to win against these talented teams. So it's going to be coin flips at that point, and it's going to be really, really tough. Next up, G2 versus C9. G2 continues to just be we're going to possess the ball in the offensive half all the time. And I love that, as we were talking about earlier, where I hate it when teams don't do that. And they continue to do that. Cloud9 at times look like they could put up a fight, but nah, not really. 1 game, whatever. G2 is way too strong right now. JNAP's been playing great, I feel every series. This series was one of those where Rizzo didn't have to do a lot. It was the JNAP's in Chicago show, which happens, which is perfectly fine. They don't need him to go off normally, because normally it is. Just give it to JNAP's in Chicago, and they will do the magical stuff on the offensive side of the field. In this series alone, go over the players. It was, Rizzo participated in 30% of the goals, while JNAP's was at 76%, Chicago at 70%. And honestly, they do that a lot. That's also why, I would argue against, Turtle or something for the offensive or the MVP award. Just because Rizzo sometimes he doesn't have to do as much. Sure, he boosts steals and goes for demo plays, but other people do that too in in the RLCS, and like they don't get as much praise for it. So, G2 is really good. Could be the best team. The only problem is they haven't played anyone yet. That's the main issue. I'm gonna look at their schedule here real quick. Yeah, G2's played, like the only one they've played is Pittsburgh Knights. That's about it out of the teams that I consider top 6. Pittsburgh Knights took one game off them, and then they've played Rogue, Flight, and Cloud9, all bottom of the barrel teams. So sure, they're looking great now. It's very similar to last season when we did those comparison stats of like when they're playing a bad team, they run up the stats. When they play good teams, they kind of struggled a lot. So sure, like obviously 4-0 was fantastic, but they still haven't been tested. And again, the Pittsburgh Knights win was good, but coming up these next few weeks, we'll start seeing them be tested a little bit more. We got E United in week 5, which again, like I don't think E United's that good. Like I could see that ball being on like E United's defensive half for 90% of that game, because E United just does not possess the ball on the offensive side. And then they play Ghost on the doubleheader day. So that's when it will start being tested. But the last 3 weeks, they play Ghost, they play Energy, they play Space Station, and they play Sonics. So, sure, they're 4-0, but G2 fans, just be careful. Like, it's not over yet. It's not even close to over yet for G2. So, we'll see where they go from here. I think I would... man, it's tough. It depends how they do versus the better teams. Like if you put a gun to my head and was like, who's the top 2? I think I might still go Energy, Space Station. I think I might. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Let's go over week 5 games now. Let me bring up my little scoreboard here so we can predict some games. You can let me know when I'm wrong, as always. And if you want to predict, throw them in the YouTube comments below. But let's go over this. E United versus Flight. So again, this is one of those bottom 4 teams playing each other. The one thing that kind of stinks for this weekend for NA is, if my top 6 is correct, we only have 2 games all weekend. I believe it's 2 games all weekend, including the Monday games, where 2 of the top 6 play each other. And obviously, 3 of them. There's 3 of them, but one of them is Energy PK, so you feel like Energy is a pretty big favorite there. So not a lot of competitive games, but that also means that these teams that are in the bottom have chances to move up. Like, if you want to move up, this is the weekend to move up. E United Flight, that's where this story begins. I'm going to go 3-2 E United. I'm worried about E United, about how they don't like to possess the ball on the offensive side of the field. But they're playing Flight, who never passes when they're on the offensive side of the field. So we'll see what happens. But I think Flight has a shot. They have some good solo play stuff, so I think they have a shot here. And maybe this is their chance to get a win back, maybe. But I'll give it to E United. Next up, Ghost versus Rogue. I really like Ghost still. Sure, they're not winning the big one, but they're playing well. Outside of, missing that crucial shot. I think that will get fixed at some point. I'm going to go 3-0. I think Rogue is going to keep tilting off the face of this planet, and Ghost will win. Next up, PK and Sonics. Big weekend for Pittsburgh Knights, because I think a lot of people have them as that 5th or 6th team right now, with Ghost down there as well. It's weird, because I feel like people are probably almost more down on PK than Ghost at times. But obviously PK just beat Ghost 2 weeks ago. So PK Sonics. Sonics are getting away with some, here or there. Let's see. So far, obviously they beat Space Station. And Space Station didn't play all that well, according to Chrome. He said that they would probably beat them the next time. I think in terms of the pros, I think they're still a little bit down on Sonics, and that they don't think they're as good as what they're showing. Obviously, that Go series, Sonic should have definitely lost. But they're still playing where, they're in the mix, right? Sonics versus PK, this one's tough, because I think for Sonics, they're overperforming. I think Pittsburgh Knights is slightly underperforming. But I'm still going to give it to the Sonics. I think I'm going to ride that momentum. I think it'll be 3-2 for the Sonics. I actually wrote this in the wrong order. So I'm going to go 3-2 here for Sonics. Just because I think PK, they're still trying to figure it out. Could easily go the other way. I think it's a very close series. This one is one of those that could determine the 3rd and 4th spots versus 5th and 6th. Obviously, we still have a lot to play, but this could be a very important game for that. Next up, E United versus G2. Again, I think this ball is going to be in E United's half like 90% of the time. I'm going to give this to G2. Next up, Space Station versus Cloud9. Cloud9's schedule is so rough from here on out. Like, they had to beat the Rogues and the E Uniteds. And I think, like, they are probably better than them most of the time, in my opinion. They're still so inconsistent on the defensive side, though. They just give up too many freebies right now. Space Station should, though, easily win this. I think Space Station is a good team. I think Cloud9's going to upset one of these top teams one of these weeks. I don't think it'll matter because they still won't make playoffs. But I don't think it's this week with Space Station. Energy and Pittsburgh Knights. I think Energy is too good. Pittsburgh Knights are still trying to find their footing. It really comes down to that Sonic series, too. Like, I think it's such a big day for Pittsburgh Knights. If they beat the Sonics, they might be able to ride that momentum, that morale boost into the Energy series, but I think Energy is too good. Energy always throws away a game lately, it seems like, so I'm going to give this one a 3-1 for NRG. And that's it. That's our predictions for North America. Hope you guys enjoyed them. It's gonna be a wild weekend. We'll do our doubleheader predictions probably together with Europe. That's Sunday, and yeah. Until then, make sure you watch Saturday and Monday for North America action. Until next time, bye.